that I've learned and kind of my own flavor. What you guys will discover is there is a science to building doTERRA and there's an art. Okay, the science is the step by step, and it really needs to be followed. If you don't follow the step by step, if you don't use the natural solutions presentation, if you don't use the live guide, if you don't use the share guide, if you don't use the build guide, and you don't follow the structure, the science of our business, things will fall through the cracks and you won't create the success and the duplication that you'd like to see. Now, there's also the art of our business, which is your personality. It's you, it's the fun part of what we do. And it's a little bit different for every person. And so I'm going to share a little bit, like I said, of my flavor and some things that I do that I've seen to be successful as we help new people start in this business. The first thing that I'll just have you understand is that everybody comes into this business like a baby. Okay, they're a doTERRA baby, and you can't obviously just have a baby and let it run around or let it crawl around and expect that it's going to take care of itself, right? So if you want to build a productive team, if you want to help produce leaders, you need to really support people in the beginning. And some people get our business confused, and they think that we're in the business of creating volume, right? Because some of our ranks, especially the beginning ranks, they are based exclusively on volume, right? You become a manager when you do 500 in OV, you become a director when you do 1,000, an executive at 2,000, elite at 3,000. And so sometimes people get the impression that our business is about creating volume of sales and purchases. And while that is an important aspect, I will tell you that you're not paid exclusively on volume. What you're actually paid the most on is your ability to produce leaders, right? So if you look at and build leadership, if you look at our compensation plan, you cannot become a diamond without building 4 people to the level of silver, right? Now you can't carry 4 silvers on your back, right, Mom? Like you can't force. My mom didn't get to diamond by just like forcing and building the entire thing for 4 people. She found and trained and supported 4 people that became independent and who, through their own leadership, they became silvers, right? And so we are in the business of building silver or building leaders, okay? And so that's where this science needs to be followed, this step by step. So we're going to go through some of these steps. So first thing is, one of the biggest mistakes that people make, I think, is they will sign someone up and then they'll wait until after the person gets their kit before they give them any kind of instructions or get them moving, right? Especially, we're talking about onboarding customers, but also distributors. And most of the people that I sign up in doTERRA, they have sales or they have enrollments before they've even received their own kit. Okay, so we don't wait to get people moving. We get people moving as fast as possible. Okay, and I'm going to go through all the questions at the end. Okay, just to keep us on task here. So the first thing that you want to do is welcome somebody to the team, and I like to congratulate them for becoming a part of the team, investing in their health, investing in their wellness. It's great to help them start to discover a why. Now, this is something that can be grown over time, but some kind of initial reason, right? Why did they buy the oils, or why did they decide to commit to the business? Help understand a little bit of who they are and what motivates them. And as you understand people's motivations, you can then help to keep them going in the right direction, right? So write down what that is for them. Then you want to connect them to group chats, to social media groups, and et cetera, and schedule the lifestyle overview. Now, one tip is this is the wellness console. We use the live guide for this. And one tip is I like to actually schedule this presentation or this lifestyle overview oftentimes even before we do the enrollment. And I use it as an incentive for them to enroll. And so that makes it so that after because some people will think after you sign them up and then you try to schedule another sit down with them, they might feel like, oh, he's just trying to sell me even more product, right? And if they understand at the point of enrollment that one of the benefits is, hey, one of the benefits that you get for signing up with me is I'm going to spend 30 minutes of my time sitting down with you one-on-one, doing a lifestyle overview and teaching you how to use the products you've already purchased. Okay, and that's the language that I use. Now, yes, we're going to teach them about the LRP. We're going to teach them about more products. But the reason for that lifestyle overview is to understand their needs and to help them know how to use the products that they've already purchased. And so I like to schedule that before the enrollment happens. Okay. Then we have, here's some examples of some why. You guys can take a screenshot, or we can give you this, a PDF of this later. But here's a quote: if you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passion for your passion will lead you right into your purpose. Okay, now after somebody's kit arrives, so then we have some time, right? And again, before their kit arrives, you can actually do some of these steps. And I'm going to recommend that some of them you do even before their kit arrives, because especially in India, right? Like, sometimes there can be delays, right? I know you guys are experiencing some delays recently. And so sometimes it can take a week. It can take a week and a half for somebody to get their kit, right? Sometimes longer, right, Mom?
A lot longer sometimes.
Yeah, so that's not normal, but sometimes delays happen. So we don't wait. But one thing that does need to happen after their kit arrives is you do their lifestyle overview. And again, this is to validate their purchase. Understand that people buy for emotion and they justify with logic. Okay, so what does that mean? In our classes, when we do intro classes, we tell a lot of stories. We give people hope that they can better in their health and in their wellness, right? And so they buy based off of that emotion of hope. Then we help them justify their purchase and validate that purchase through logic, okay? And so for that to happen, they need to learn a little bit more about the oils. They need to have a plan for how they're going to use them. So that's what this Live Guide does. It provides them with this plan, okay? Then you can also connect them with a reference guide or one of the apps so that they know that they have a resource that empowers them. One of the biggest mistakes you can do in our business is become the source of people's protocols, okay? If you are the person who is answering messages all day for people who are asking, what do I do for this? What do I do for this? What's a protocol for this? What's a blend for this? That will eventually eat up all your time and your business will stagnate because you haven't empowered people. They're dependent on you, right? And so that's why this piece of having a reference guide, whether it's a book or whether it's an app, something that they can turn to when they have questions. And what I do to kind of strengthen this culture of creating independence in people. And this is important because you may think, oh, I'm just helping them use the oils, but no, you are teaching them how to build a business in everything you do. Okay. So one of the things that I like to do is if somebody asks me, Matt, what do I do for arthritis? I'll look it up in the book, right? First, I'll say, hey, we don't have an oil for arthritis, but we have great oils for reducing inflammation and for supporting naturally your body, okay? And then because we want to start to shift people's language away from claims, right? And then what I do is I look up arthritis in one of the books, I take a picture and I send them, and that's what I send them. And I say, here's a list of products that will help you. If the first one doesn't help you the way that you want it to, then you can try the second one on the list. If the second one doesn't help you the way that you want to, then you can try the third one, because each of our bodies are different and what we need is different, right? And so I set expectations. I'm showing them that all I did was I took a picture, right? So I'm leading through I'm teaching through my example. And then you're going to provide them obviously links to the calls, the webinars, videos, and et cetera, okay? Next, you teach them and set up their LRP. So this is what that Live Guide does. In the Live Guide, you walk through the first page is congratulations on your choice to change your lifestyle and your wellness with doTERRA. And then you go through and there's pages talking about different categories and different ways that people can use our products. And through that presentation, they're going to get introduced to many new products that they're going to be curious and want to try in the future. Then you're going to create, you use the page, I think it's page 11. I'm not sure what it is in the English Live Guide, but it's the one where it has, you make a plan for them. What are they going to use morning, afternoon, and evening in their schedule to help with their specific essential oil goals, okay? Then after that, you're going to have shown them, look, there's 3 months here. Let's plan out what you want to buy for the next 3 months to really target your needs and your desires with our products. And then you can teach them, hey, we have an amazing loyalty rewards program where you are going to get a ton of free product, okay? And that's literally how I say it. You're going to get a ton of free product. You're going to love it, right? And that's where you teach them about our loyalty rewards program. Most of you already know what this is, but if you don't, really quick, if you're ordering monthly on the LRP, the loyalty rewards program, but beyond your discount of 25%, you're going to get in the very first 3 months, 10% of everything you purchase back in free product credit. After 3 months, it goes up to 15% back in free product credit. After 7 months or after 6 months, you're at 20%, and then it goes up to 25%. And every 3 months, it goes up until 30%. So my wife and I today, if we buy $100 in product, right, we are getting the 25% discount, okay? And we're also getting 30% of what we purchased back in points for a free product, okay? So you can end up saving over time 55% when you calculate it out. And then you teach them, look, if you do 1 point, that's going to maintain where you are in the loyalty rewards program. You're not going to progress, but you're not going to lose your points. If you do 50 a month, then you get your points and you increase each month. If you do 100 each month, then you're going to, on top of the points, you're going to get commissions as you're sharing the oils. If you do 125, you can participate in a product of the month club. And if you do 200 per month, then there are sometimes 200 PV promotions, okay? All right, so here are the terms. If you're not familiar with them, LRP means loyalty rewards program. You're going to hear us talk a lot about that. This is your residual income, right? So it doesn't, this is why this step of doing the Live Guide is so important. Even with your business builders, sometimes people are like, oh, this person's just going to be a business builder. I'll just get them, selling the oils. Well, you need to teach them how to consume. Because the truth is, many of your current business builders will end up becoming customers and they'll decide to just be customers over time. And many of your customers will end up deciding they want to be business builders, right? We never know what's going to happen, who's going to build, what it's going to look like. But what I do know is if you get people loyal to doTERRA's products, they will keep buying no matter what. PV is your personal order every single month. So it's the points or the product value. And then you have the POM, which is the product of the month, okay? Which is that if you do 125 each month. So you teach them about that program, and don't just teach them. I like to open up my computer with them or have them log in if we're long distance, have them log in on Zoom. And Zoom has a cool feature where you can even take control of their screen. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but you can, they can give you permission so that you can move their mouse on their screen in Zoom. And so you can literally set up their LRP for them, or you can just walk them through and say, hey, click there to set it up. Okay, step 4 is, we're talking about getting these new wellness advocates, these new business builders started. So then the next step is we want to get them thinking about who they can serve, right? And so we help them create their names list. Depending on their commitment level, if they are just like, yeah, I think I'll share the oils, then have them create a 20 names list, okay? If they're like, yeah, I want to do this business, but it's going to be, at my own pace, then say, okay, well, let's start with a 50-person names list, right? And if they're like, yeah, I really want to build this business, I want to make it happen, then have them create 100 names list. And for this, they can just go into their Facebook, write down their Facebook friends who they feel like would be interested. And then we start to prioritize, right? And we prioritize, okay, who are the people on this list who have maybe a product first mindset, like they would be first interested in our products. Who on this list would maybe have a business mindset and be interested in building a business? And everyone is going to get both invites. Okay, every single person that you invite to doTERRA should get an invite to learn about our products and to learn about our business. But it's just the way you do the invite and in which order that sometimes will change depending on your perception of the person's priorities, right? So if you know somebody who is an executive that works at he's a successful guy or girl but doesn't have any time, right? Well, maybe you're going to approach them, and in your invite, you're going to share with them some oils for stress, and you're going to offer them to take a look at a business where they can free up some of their time, right, and create some time freedom. So your invite's going to change from person to person. But as you sit down with your person and you help them prioritize their names list, you also want to help them start to imagine who would be 3 potential capable and committed people for their front line. Okay, 3 people, either friends, relatives, or some connection. We like to kind of make little families in doTERRA a lot of times. So I have like a family team, I have a friends team, I have this team, or that team, right? So you can think of help them think of different categories of people so that you can put those groups together in a team. But start to get them thinking about who would be these people. Obviously, we're not going to know if they're capable and committed, and if they're good frontline potential until after we have some conversations with them and see if they're open. The next step with your new wellness advocates is to get them hosting classes, okay? And these can be online, they can be in person. We're starting to do more and more in-person things again, which is exciting. I know that things might not be the same where you are, but I've heard of people in India who are doing some in-person classes. So you can just decide how your region is responding right now, what's going on in your area, and decide if you want to do these in person or online. Over time, you will want to become a master of in-person classes, because nothing substitutes pouring a drop of oil in someone's hand, getting that reaction from them of, wow, right? And that just will drastically increase your ability to close people. But there's a lot of benefits to doing things online as well. We've created massive duplication and results with online classes as well. So so you're going to want to put these on the schedule, right? And here's one of the things that I do. Okay, so here's something you can write down that is part of my process. Is in this conversation, when we're kind of planning out someone's next steps in a business, I ask them the following question. I say, hey, Becky, do you want to go fast or do you want to grow normal?
Fast.
Oh, you want to go fast? Okay. And if the person says that they want to grow fast in doTERRA, then I personally schedule their first 4 classes for their first week. Okay, that's a little intense, but I'm like, hey, you said you want to go fast. We're going to do this, right? And if the person says, oh, I want to go normal, I want to just grow at a normal pace, then we schedule 4 classes for their first month. So that looks like 1 each week, right? Now, why 4 in a week? Some of you are like, Matt, you're crazy. Yeah, I'm crazy. And that's why I'm a presidential diamond. That's why I'm a presidential diamond, because we work with urgency. We get people moving quickly, right? And a lot of times, the faster someone builds, the less they feel pain and rejection, right? Because let's say you, here's just a principle for you guys to carry with you. If you're inviting 2 people each day to learn about doTERRA, well, chances are that, I don't know, maybe half of the people who you ask if they're interested are going to say, yeah, I'm open to learning about it, right? So let's say day 1, you invite 2 people. the law of averages just doesn't work for you that day. And both of those two people say, no, I'm not interested. Well, then the next day, it's kind of hard, right? To get up and be like, oh, I need to invite two more people. The last two people said no yesterday. So, and then your voice starts to change, your enthusiasm goes down, your passion goes down a little bit. You start to even doubt if it's worth it. And then your invite is weak. And because you have a weak invite, then those two people that you invite day 2, they're like, no, I'm not interested, right? And day 3, you wake up and you're like, oh, I've got to invite 2 more people. Suzanne said I need to invite 2 more people. Oh, man. The other 4, they said no. And then your voice starts to reflect that you're just defeated and that there's no value in doTERRA. And energy is real, right? So people feel your enthusiasm. So that's the danger of building slow. Okay. And it's fine. A lot of people, you can build slow if you choose, but that's why I like to sometimes do 4 classes in a week with people who really want to grow quickly, because it gets them working quickly. And or it gets them achieving, some kind of victory. So an example is if you're inviting 10 people in a day, and let's say, 5 or 6 people say no. My rule is when I'm inviting people, I need to invite until I get a yes, until I get someone who says, okay, yeah, I'm open to listen. I'm open to learn, right? And then when you end on a victory, then it's much more exciting the next day to wake up and think back and be like, wow, I got someone yesterday who's interested, who's open to learn, right? And so then you go and you do 5, 10 more invites that day. So speed is really an amazing thing in our business to help you just stay motivated and see results quickly. So you want to put those on the schedule. They need to be calendared. These classes need to be on the schedule. Okay. And I also, another thing that I do, that's a Matt-ism, another thing that I say for people in the beginning, after I ask them, hey, do you want to grow fast or do you want to grow normal? I'll say, listen, my goal for you is that you become independent of me as fast as possible. Do you agree that that's a good idea? Okay, that's the question. Write it down. My goal for you is that you become independent of me as fast as possible. Do you agree that that's a good idea? And a lot of times people will say, no, I want to depend on you, Matt. Like I want you to do all my classes for me. And I say, listen, this is your business. You're going to have to treat it like your business. I'm going to be here to support you every step of the way. But if you're dependent on me and my time, you will not grow. I can't give you enough time for you to grow off of my time and my efforts, right? So you're going to need to learn how to build this business. And I work with them until they're willing to be independent as fast as possible. So then what we do is we look at these 4 classes on the schedule and I say, great, here's what that's going to look like. Class number 1, I'm going to teach the whole thing. You don't have to do anything. You just watch, pay attention, and learn. Okay. Class number 2, we're going to split it 50-50. So you're going to tell me if you'd rather do the first half or the second half. You're going to teach that half and I'll be there to teach the other half. And usually people want to teach the first half, the part that doesn't include closing, right? And talking about the kits and whatnot. And then in the 3rd class, listen, you're going to teach everything and I'm going to be there to support and answer any questions that people have. And in the 4th class, I'm not going to be there. Okay. And I'm excited about it. And I'm telling them, listen, I'm going to make sure that in that 4th class, you feel confident, you feel ready to go out and build your business and not depend on me. Now, does that mean I'm never going to help them with another class again? No, of course not. But that 4th class, I want them to do it on their own. And I always tell them the story of me when I got started. When I got started in doTERRA, we signed up with a presidential diamond who was super successful already and didn't have a lot of time. So she turned to me and said, hey, Matt, our goal for you is to make you independent of us as fast as possible. Do you agree that that's a good idea? And I said, sure. Okay. Then they came to my mom's house because we didn't have a house and they taught a class for us. They taught 1 class. And then they said, okay, go teach some classes. And we started teaching classes after our upline helping us with one class, okay? We were young, we didn't know what we were doing, but we just started teaching. And then they helped us with a second class, I think 1 month later, which was at my mother-in-law's house. But other than those two classes, they never taught a class for us over these 9 years. Okay. So, but what happened? We learned to become independent, right? And that set us up for success, and it also helped them be more successful because they didn't need to do our classes all the time for us. And that's one of the biggest weaknesses of our model that we have to currently use of building almost exclusively through these online webinars and classes, is that we don't create as much independence in people. So if you're here, I want you to make the choice. I want to be a diamond. If you want to be a diamond, put in the chat, I want to be a diamond. Okay. And then I want you to, figuratively look up to your upline and think to yourself, I'm going to become independent of them as fast as possible. I will not depend on Suzanne for my success. I will not depend on Becky and Larry for my success. I will not depend on Matt for my success. Okay. So that's our goal for you. And duplicate that, right? Teach your team that the biggest virtue they can have in this business is to become independent, and that will give them power. All right, now the next step 6, is to help them enroll and duplicate the process, right? So a good goal for your first month is 5 to 6 enrollments for your first month. And if they enroll with the same kit that you did, then you break even, right? And I would again, I'm kind of crazy, so I'm going to actually change the word month to week. If I were you, I'd have the goal to get 5 or 6 enrollments in your first week. Now, does that mean that if you don't, you should give up? No. There are people that sometimes go 2, 3, 4 months without getting their first enrollment, and that later become diamonds in doTERRA, right? My wife and I, we are not the fastest to reach presidential diamond, but we are probably one of the most solid. We're probably one of the biggest teams in the company, and definitely, I think, the fastest growing presidential diamond in the company. So speed, right? Success loves speed. So that's a good goal. And to this day, even after 9 years of building doTERRA, I still personally have the goal to enroll 5 to 10 new people every single month in our business. So that's a good goal to maintain. Okay. Step 7, teach them about how they can get paid. And this is important. Let me give you a tip. If you get someone a result, a financial result in their first week, okay, that means they have either sold a product or they've had an enrollment. In some way, you've gotten them a result in their first week. You just bought yourself 90 days of production from that person. We know that there are people who will start this business who will stop this business. They won't keep going. Hopefully, most of the people who join your team will keep going. But one of the ways to guarantee that is to help them get some kind of positive financial result quickly. It doesn't have to be big, but it's one enrollment or it's one sale of a product, just to give them that confirmation that the business works, right? So get them a result. That means getting them enrollment. That's why we have classes scheduled for their very first week, even before their kit has come, right? And even if that means them inviting 10 people to the group classes that are happening, right? That's also a way to do it. So teach them about the build, or go through the build guide with them. This is going to help them understand the philosophy of residual income, the philosophy of how to separate out the amount of time that you're working from the money that you're earning. It's going to help them understand the bonuses, and then you're going to sit down with them and talk about their goals. Okay, when would you like to hit elite? When would you like to hit premier? When would you like to hit silver? And then you can kind of manage their expectations. So if someone says to me, Matt, I want to be diamond in 90 days, okay, then I sit there and I say, whew, okay. If you want to be diamond in 90 days, you are going to need to talk to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in your first month. okay? And you're going to need to enroll dozens and dozens and dozens of people in your first month. Because diamond in 90 days, that's a big goal. And I'm not going to tell you it's not possible, but I want you to understand that's going to take your full attention for every minute of every day for the next 90 days. And guess what? It's happened before. We've had people on our team go diamond in 90 days, but that's a crazy thing, right? And it's very rare. And so if somebody comes and states a goal like that, then you want to kind of manage their expectations and say, hey, look, the average diamond, it usually takes them a couple years at least to get to diamond. Me and my wife, it was 5 years to get to diamond. Okay. And I don't look back and think, oh, that was so long. No, I look back and I think, wow, that went by pretty quick actually. And compared to the lifestyle that we're living, that was worth it, right? So here, when you set goals with people, you help them manage their expectations. Here's a phrase you can write down. In doTERRA, we are not teaching people to get rich quick. We're teaching them to get rich forever. Okay, let me repeat that. In doTERRA, we're not teaching people to get rich quick. We're teaching people to get rich forever. And the reason for that is we have a compensation plan that's sustainable, and we have a product that people come back to buy over and over and over and over and over. So you really experience true residual income from product purchases, and you're not dependent on only having people join for the business. Okay, now here's a couple more tips. Every week, invite people onto the weekly online business trainings and intro classes. Help people to follow up with their prospects, answer their questions, and I would say answer their questions quickly, right? One of the things that has really helped me in my business is getting back to people quickly. And it's not always possible, and it's even harder today than it's ever been in the past. But as much as I can, I try to respond to people as quick as I can. And make sure that they know that they're supported and that I'm there to help. And obviously, you're going to help them with those first classes, also helping them to become independent as fast as possible. Then each month, you want to communicate monthly specials, promotions. This is really important. They're announced on social media. They're announced in your leaders groups. But announcing, another principle that will really help you in your doTERRA business is that announcing is different than promoting. We promote in our business. We don't announce. If you're just sending out an email blast or sending out a WhatsApp about a promotion, guess what? That's better than nothing, but even better than that would be to promote it. What is promoting it? Promoting promoting a promotion, right, is you saying, hey, here's all the benefits of this product. Here's 5 different ways that you can use this product. Here's a recipe. Here's a diffuser blend that you can use this product in, right? And you start to build the value in their minds of the products that are a part of the promotion, or even the bonuses and whatnot. Okay, so or the events, like every single weekly event that you guys have here, it should be like there's not going to ever be another event again, right? Because you're promoting it with that level of urgency, excitement, and enthusiasm. Okay, then we help them plan for, enroll, and build for their power of 3. So we help them, learn how to structure. Where do we place people? What's the difference between enroller and sponsor? That's something that you can, each month you can go in and kind of analyze your person's business and just give them some tips and some ideas for how they can improve. Okay, every 60 to 90 days, offer additional product education, invite to classes, check-in and support in reaching health goals. So this is really valuable, especially with even with your customers, right? To revisit them, and you don't just do that initial wellness consult and then abandon them. No, you want to check back in and say, hey, maybe you take a picture of their live guide where they filled out those questions, and you say, hey, I know that your goal was to lose 5 pounds in 90 days, right? And you're committed to drinking more water. You're committed to digestive support with some of our products. You're committed to smart and sassy, slim and sassy, and you're going to eat nutritiously and work out every day. How are those goals going, right? And you become their coach. So you check in with them periodically to help them truly have the lifestyle change that they want and that we want them to have on our products so that they keep buying. If no order is placed in 60 days after enrollment, you can make customer support calls. Product education is likely what they need. Okay, then you provide them with some support tools. So here's a list of support tools. You can take a screenshot. We can send this out. You can send a PDF of this out later as well. But there's so much education in doTERRA that it's almost too much, right? So we have to hold people back from learning. We have to be like, hey, only do an hour a day of learning, because if not, then people spend 24 hours a day learning and they don't ever build their business, right? So we're lucky, we're so blessed that there's so many resources, and help people to also limit how much time they're spending doing this versus, if their goal is to build a business, we want them to spend at least 80% of their time talking to new people about doTERRA. And here's some last tips. You can take a screenshot of this, but attend all the events and trainings. This is so important, and it shows your leadership. People follow your feet, not your lips. In other words, people will do what you do, not what you say. So if you say get on the trainings every week, but then they get on and they see that you're not on, oh, do you think they're going to come next week? Probably not, because they're going to follow their leader, right? In each class, ask who would be willing to host a class. So this is one of the secrets for growth in our business, is from every class, we try to book another class. This will make it so you never run out of people to teach to. So at the end of the class, you can say, hey, anybody who's here who would be willing to invite 5 to 10 of their friends, either to a Zoom call or to an in-person class, I'm going to give you some kind of small gift, right? And you create that momentum of booking classes from classes. When the LRP processes, log in and edit your LRP order. So you help them understand that they need to log in and edit it so they don't get the same products next month. Help a lot of people, they don't understand the subscription mindset of the LRP initially, because maybe they've never had a program that's so generous and that's a monthly program like that. So you need to kind of teach them and help them know that they need to log in and change that. Build for power of 3. Every other bonus, if you build for power of 3, naturally, you're going to be set up for success with every other bonus that doTERRA offers. Okay. Knowing that building for the power of 3 means that those 3 people that you're building under, they're 3 people who are capable, they're committed, they are people who want to, you're not building for anybody, you're building with people, right? In the first 1 to 2 months, try to find 3 capable, committed, and trusted leaders to partner with. When you have 1 capable and committed leader, help them duplicate this process and be successful, okay? When you earn your second level power of 3, you're going to be earning an average of $25,000 to $40,000 a month. That's a big deal. Duplicate and work for that third level of power 3 over time. It's life-changing, that third level of power 3, okay? But it takes time to build. And sometimes you build it and a part of it falls apart and you have to rebuild it, okay? And that's normal, and it will happen for most. Okay. So those are our tips for getting a new wellness advocate started today. Let me open up here and we'll go through some of the questions.
Yeah, I told everybody to type in the chat. Can I, while you're typing questions in the chat, I wanted to just say a couple things. First, that was awesome. Thank you so much. We attended a training by Eric Worre this last week. Many of you probably know who he is. He's like one of the number 1 top network marketing gurus in the whole wide world. Super incredible, talented. And one of the things that was said in that training was, think about how many hours you're spending a week in doTERRA. Maybe some of you are spending 5 hours a week. Maybe some of you are spending 10 hours a week. Maybe some of you are only just, maybe 1 to 2 hours a week. And then he said, think about how many hours you could put in. Well, you could put in, unless you're working a full-time job, then you need to take away those job hours. But you could, many of you aren't working outside of doTERRA right now, and you could put in 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. What's the very most that you could put in? And then he just said, try to lessen that gap, right? Try to shrink that down a little bit. So if you're only doing 3 or 4 hours a week, or even 10 hours a week, and you could do 20 hours a week, then maybe do 15, start to lessen that gap a little bit and put in that extra time, because it's going to make the difference. It's really going to make the difference. And then the other thing I wanted to say, that I really loved what you said, Matt, when you said, when you're inviting someone to a class, invite them until you get a yes. That means you don't just send this invite out to 10 people and hope that somebody shows up. You invite, you keep inviting until someone says, yes, I'll be there, I'm going to show up. That means that every one of our Thursday introductory classes, you're going to have a guest, because you're going to be inviting until someone says yes, that's going to show up. So I really, really, really like that as well. Just really great points.
Can I add to that, Suzanne?
Yeah, for sure.
I was curious. We had some discussion over the last period of time about guests coming on to the classes and stuff like that. And really, I noticed that the numbers on Thursday seem to be about the same every Thursday. And I'm curious to know how many people are actually inviting for our Thursday classes. That is such a powerful tool for you guys. We're doing it so you can actually, like Matthew said, we're helping you with the first class and helping you get familiar with maybe different ways to teach the class, so that you can find your natural solutions class. Really, I think is the best one. And then as you start to engage with your downline and having them learn more about the oils, you want to hear different things you can do with the oils. But really, are you inviting people to the classes? Where's your prospects, and bring them on? I think it's really powerful. And one of the things, Matthew, I have a question.
Sure.
And this is a question for everybody, because I think that this is where everybody gets stuck. So when you keep inviting people over and over again, you feel like you're pushing them further away, because they're, here comes Matthew again. He's going to ask me to come to a class. And, I know in this book, there's really great scripts on how to invite people, and to lead with your heart and not with your mind is very powerful. What could be some other tips that you could give people from feeling like they're pushing them away? How can you bring them towards you instead of away from you to keep inviting them as they're saying no?
So, a couple things. First of all, is to if you understand the value of what you have, then you'll understand that you're going to be inviting people until they say yes, right? But at the same time, not necessarily the next day, right? And so one thing that I do is I keep my pipeline so full that I don't worry about people that say no. In other words, like I try to keep track of every single person that I invite, but I'm also like, nobody who I've ever invited, I think, except for maybe at the very beginning when I didn't understand the business, would be like, oh, Matt was pretty desperate, right? Because I'm talking to so many people that my posture is one of, hey, what I have is great. If you want it, awesome. If not, then I'll check back in later. And that's my posture level. So I'm never begging, I'm never pleading for people to come to classes, events, etc. I'm out there looking for the next person, because I understand that there are billions of people on this earth, right? And so I'm not going to, I don't give my energy, I don't let other people control my energy, right? So if somebody says no, then I'm on looking for the next person. Now one of the things that I do is, let's say that I reach out to a friend and his name is Reggie. Okay. I see Reggie here. Somebody use his name. So let's say I'm reaching out to Reggie, my friend Reggie. And I'm like, hey, Reggie, recently I got started in a project that's changing my life financially, and any of you could say that, right? Because it's in the process of changing your life. Or maybe you've been in doTERRA for a while. And so if I've been in doTERRA for 9 years, so I can't say, hey, I recently found a project. No, but I could go to Reggie and I'd be like, hey, Reggie, recently me and my team decided to start a 90-day run in our business and to help as many people as we can, right? So something that creates this feeling of newness, whether it's I recently started or we're starting a 90-day run. And I would say, Reggie, are you open to taking a look? And that's my invite is, are you open to learn? Are you open to taking a look? And if he said, nope, not interested, Matt, I'd be like, okay, no worries. Would you mind if I keep you in the loop? Because I need friends in my life. And I know you're one of these friends. I need as many friends as I can who will support me in reaching my goals and reaching for my dreams. So is it okay if I keep you updated on our progress? He'll be like, okay, like, sure. And he might have zero interest. But what I've done is I've left the door open. I've cracked that door open, right? It's not me forcing it down his throat, like, hey, dude, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. No, it's, hey, I'm just going to keep you up. I'm just going to keep you in the loop. Right? I'm just going to keep you informed.
Matthew, oh, go ahead.
So then I can come back 2 weeks later. I can come back 3 weeks later, 3 months later, doesn't matter. And I can say, Reggie, you won't believe it. I just signed up this person who lives in your city. Or I just started working with this brand new builder in Morocco, and I can't believe my business is going to Morocco. Like, this is crazy. I knew you'd be excited to know what's going on in our business, and I'm just curious, Reggie. Like always, I know you. I've already told you this, but there's no one I'd rather do this with than you. Are you open to taking a look at what we're doing? And if he's like, he might be like, okay, sure. It sounds like things are going well, right? Because a lot of people, they're just going to wait to see if you stick around, because they've seen so many people that start these little businesses and they stop these little businesses, right? But if they understand that for you, it's a big deal, like you're committed in the long term, your consistency is attractive. Your consistency is attractive. So, but let's say he said no. If he said no, that's cool, Morocco. That's cool, Matt. I'm proud of you, man. I'm happy for you. But no, I'm not interested. Then I'd be like, okay, no worries. I'm just grateful as always that you're the friend who's cheering me on. Thank you for being such a good friend. I'm just going to keep you in the loop as things progress, right? And so I never let the door close, right? But I'm not being annoying. I'm not being like, hey, you got to do this with me. When are you going to buy your kit? When are you going to invite someone? No, I just keep doors open, and then I'm chasing more doors. I'm running after new people all the time. So those are some tips for how I do it personally.
You know what? I do want to say that it's really funny that you used Reggie as an example, because Reggie has a history of enrolling people that he's been talking to over the last 2 years. Like, even just the 6 months ago, there was a leader, she actually lives in Canada, and he talked to her many, many, many times over the course of a year. And then finally, out of the blue, she decided she wanted to do doTERRA and jumped in, and she's one of his top leaders. And just keep in touch with them. Keep in touch with them. Just don't let them out of the loop, like he said. Yeah, Annalise said, I've gotten more assertive, stressing that the education we give is solely for doTERRA oils based on our purity and research, and cannot vouch for other oils in the market. Yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
Yeah,
there's a lot of trash out there, sadly.
There is a lot of trash. Any other questions before we
I wanted to follow up with what you were saying, Matthew, so it sounds like to me you don't do texting or social media as your follow-up. You tend to do more personal phone calls or texting maybe, or what do you do?
Yeah, if I like to have as much of me in my inviting as possible. So the most of me I can give is to physically be in someone's presence. So that's the best case scenario. If they're long distance from me and I can't do that, then I want as much of me in it. So I'll do an audio. So I'll do a call would be the next, right? Call is live interaction. So that has more of me than a text. And then if I can't get them on the phone for a call, which some people these days, they just don't want to talk on the phone. And so then I'll send them an audio clip, right? And then if I notice that they haven't responded to my audio clip, I'll send them a message and follow up and just be like, hey, is everything okay? Did you see my message? Just checking in. And so for me, like a text invite it can work, but it has less of me in it, right? And that's really what we're always selling people on in our business is, hey, come be my customer, come be my partner in this business. and I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you in your health, or I'm going to help you in this business. And so I want as much of me and my energy in the invite as I can get.
That's one
And
thing
you
that
always-
Matt's really taught me is to like, when you're sending a WhatsApp message, instead of just typing a message, push the little microphone and make it your voice. He does that even just to me all the time. It just makes it so much more personal for the person to hear your voice, right?
Totally.
And you always seem to keep your energy up no matter what. That's what I always love about you, is you're always, on. And I know that's not true in personal life. I mean, you got lots of stresses going on, but, to always keep your energy up, because people want and are attracted to that energy. And I think that's really, really powerful. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't think it needs to be, one thing that I don't believe in is I don't believe in fake it till you make it. So like sometimes you hear fake it till you make it. I want to be it until I become it. Right. And so I don't wake up every single day like super excited. Right. Like I've taught the natural solutions class, guys, thousands and thousands and thousands of times. Guess what I'm doing tonight? Later tonight, I'm going to do a class, right? But in anything in your life, like if you are controlled by your mind, then you've given up your power, right? If you can control your mind, if you can control your enthusiasm, I can turn it on and off whenever I want to, right? I can turn my enthusiasm, my excitement on, and it's part of the art. It's one of the things that you learn in anything in your life is to learn to be in control of yourself, right? And self mastery is the most important mastery of anything, right? So anyway, let's see if there's more questions here.
No more questions, but Imna Senla said how much it meant to her because you sent her an audio message when she first hit gold. That was a huge motivator for her to hear your voice. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I would have flown out there to have a party with you if I could. We're so excited for you. It's amazing. We're excited for everyone in India.
Yeah.
So one question that I did see that got skipped, Mom, is Arvind just said, any update on Indian office opening office opening? So one thing it looks like you actually responded. So one thing I'll say is we will not know when India is opening until 30 days before they open. They will not give us a date. And that's true for presidential diamonds. It's true for elites. They're not going to tell us anything. So they could announce, I mean, we know like generally, because we know that they're working, but they could out of the blue, they could be like, hey, November, they could say on October 3rd, they could say, okay, November 3rd, that's the date. Or they could say in December, they could say, look, it's going to be January 15th. Like there's no way for us to know, sadly. And so we know they're making progress. Like I had a chat with the general manager and he was talking about, people that they're hiring, things that they're working on, everything is falling into place perfectly. But what I want you to understand is that the setup you guys have right now, where everyone can get their product and everyone can also get paid commissions, like we're basically open. The only difference is it's costing us a lot more, right? To keep things moving and to keep products getting to you guys, because we're subsidizing a lot of the shipping. But I mean, and shipping, sure, it'll be faster once it's coming from within country and things like that. But I would encourage you just to work as if it were already open, because essentially we have most of the components that we're going to have once it does open, right? So.
Hey, Daljit said, any tips for cold prospecting?
Ooh, okay. Cold prospecting, sure. We've signed up a lot of people through cold prospecting. One thing that I'll say is actually, I'll tell you guys a little secret. Everything can work. So back when we were at the very beginning of our doTERRA journey, we were so enthusiastic and excited, and we wanted to talk to so many new people that we were like handing out flyers on the street for doTERRA. Okay, we were doing everything wrong that you can imagine. And the reason I say wrong is because I got a call from, I don't think I ever told you this, Mom, but I got a call from a policeman, and he's like, "Hey, is this Matt Hall?" And I'm like, "Yeah, did you get our doTERRA flyer?" I didn't know he was a policeman. And he was like, "Yes, I got a lot of them all over a parking lot, and it's illegal for you to leave flyers on cars. Did you know that? This is Officer blah 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 of the Provo, police department." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that. Whoops." But guess what? From placing those flyers, we got 2 enrollments. Okay, so everything can work. Everything can work. The key is you need to do enough of it. And so obviously when you're working with people that you know, people that they know, working through your contacts and their contacts is always going to be the easiest, and you're going to have the highest percentage of closing. Once you get into cold market prospecting, your numbers are going to go down. Your numbers are going to go down. You're going to have to talk with a lot more people to have success. But I'll give you a few tips. So here's one tip. One of the way, I mean, the faster you can get into other people's networks where they have some connection with people, the better results you're going to have. And so as an example for this, towards the beginning of our doTERRA journey, I think we were a couple years in, we were probably platinum. Shantae turned to me and she was like, "Matt, I really want to go to London." And I was like, "What? London? Like, with whose money?" With whose money are we going to go to London? I mean, our business was flowing and whatnot, but it costs a lot of money to just up and go to London for 10 days. And so I was like, I made her a challenge, and I was like, "Okay, I'll tell you what, if you can get 8 classes booked on the schedule, we'll go to London." Okay. And so we decided we were going to go to London, and we talked to my mom because we were like, "Oh, she's got to have some people there." And I can't remember. I think maybe she hooked us up with a class. And then Shantae reached out, and she reached out to like 200 yoga instructors. And she just said, "Hey, I'm going to be in the area. And if you get 10 to 15 of your students together for us to teach about essential oils, I will give you a free intro kit." And it was just that like $20 intro kit, right? Lavender peppermint. This one right here, right? It wasn't like a big old fancy kit. And we're like, "Hey, we'll give you this kit," right? And almost all of them said, "No, we're not interested," right? But we got 8 classes booked. And so where did we go? We went to London, right? And we left that trip with, I think, 30 or 40 people. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was almost 40 people signed up after that trip, because we just did 2 classes a day. And then we had like 3 days on the back end to play, right? And so the lesson there is we weren't reaching out to them hoping that the person would sign up from our message. If you think that from your cold message someone's going to sign up, you're wrong. It's never going to happen. Your goal is to get them into a conversation or an atmosphere where they can be in a class and really learn in depth. Now, our way to do that was, hey, let's do some cold market prospecting, but let's make it so that each person that says yes to us teaching them, they're also bringing 10 people, right? And so we presented to probably a couple hundred people during that week doing all these classes. And so there's one tip, right? There's one tip. Then my next tip is, I mean, you're always inviting people to learn. So my invite is, hey, I saw on social media that you're interested in wellness. Recently, I discovered a company whose natural health products are really impacting my family's health in a positive way. Would you be open to learn? And if you use that phrase, are you open to learn? Most people, they don't want to be closed-minded. So they're going to say, yeah, I'm open to learn. And then you come to them with an invite to a class and you say, well, my best friend, Suzanne from Utah, she is doing a class on this day, this time, on this subject, right? Or this amazing leader, Becky, and her husband, Larry, they're doing a class on this topic this day. You've got to be there. Will you come? Right? And then you get that firm commitment. Will you come? And really with the cold market, it's kind of a numbers game. So it's as many connections as you can. And yeah, that's it. So those are some tips. We can give you more tips over time, but that's where I'll leave it for today.
Couple things before we close. Arvin said, I need this type of meeting at least once a month. So it's great. And then Imna Samla just said, 9 years in the business, how do you keep yourself motivated and going? Just why don't you close? Goodness. Why don't you close with that, and then we'll end the class.
I'll tell you a secret. doTERRA just becomes more and more and more and more addicting. Why? Because we're changing people's lives in positive ways, right? And so the bigger it grows, the more messages you get, the more gratitude you feel from other people as your ripple effect compounds out. And so I honestly, I cannot envision a day where I will slow down. Like, I just don't see it. I mean, our lifestyle has changed in a lot of ways, but like my passion and my intensity for wanting to serve new people, I'll tell you something that I just did. On the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of August, I couldn't do it during the end of the month because we're supporting and talking to so many people on our team, right? But the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of the month, I rode my bike to a hotel in my same city to lock myself in a hotel room for 3 days. And I talked to 300 new people, okay? I started conversations with 300 new people in 3 days, locked in a hotel. I told my family, hey, I'm going away for 3 days because I want to work. I want to work.
Too many distractions.
I don't want any distractions. I don't want any little kids running in the door. I want to find new people who I can impact in a positive way. And so now that's a little dramatic, right? But literally during those 3 days, it was like, okay, this is going to be my blitz. And I like to work in these spurts of energy, right? And in those 3 days, I literally talked to, I mean, it was for sure over 200. It was probably close to 300 new people that I started conversations with. And I booked a bunch of appointments for all throughout this month to have conversations with new people. Okay. And so, yeah, I don't really have plans to slow down or stop, because the fulfillment that I get from the work that I do makes what I do so rewarding and just fun. Right. So, yeah, we're excited. We're more motivated and happy than ever. And the more success that we achieve, we just had our record-breaking month in terms of income last month. And the more that kind of thing happens, we just want to help it happen for more people, right? So I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, that's great. That is great. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I probably should have stopped it sooner.
The emotional revenue of what we do in doTERRA, my friends, it's going to drastically outweigh your financial revenue, which will catch up. The financial part will catch up as the impact spreads. But the emotional revenue of helping people with the oils, it's really, really, really rewarding. It's fantastic. So.
Yeah, Annalise said, when did you know you could throw yourself completely into this business without having to straddle 2 horses of a regular job in this business? That usually happens at about gold, right? Silver, gold, you know?
I think it depends on the person. I think the wise thing to do is wait until your doTERRA income has doubled your normal income. Okay, because they will fluctuate. There's going to be ups and downs. Now, that being said, Shantae and I, we quit at Elite, our part-time jobs, and we had low expenses. We had some savings. doTERRA was not enough to cover our life at that point, but we knew we could go back and get a job, right, if we needed to, and we knew that this is what we wanted to do. So because we had some savings, we just went all in as Elite. And even then, we were elite for 10 months. So it wasn't like, oh, we went full time. And that's one thing that I think people don't understand is if you can't build it part-time, you cannot build it full-time. If you try to build it, if you're not having success building it part-time and then you go full-time, you're going to be twiddling your thumbs, right? Because you won't, it just doesn't work like that. There are presidential diamonds who are still building it part-time. Okay. So here it's not the amount of time that you invest, it's the quality of that time. It's the production within that time that makes a difference. But if you want to be conservative, I would say wait until your doTERRA income doubles your normal income, or wait until your unilevel, is enough for you to live on, because everything else can fluctuate, right? But it really depends on the person. I think it's a spiritual matter internally for each person to
When
decide.
you say doubles, you mean it matches your income, not that you're making twice as much as your income.
No, I mean twice as much, like twice as much as you need to live on, because from 1 month to the next, your doTERRA income could cut in half, right? And if you like, there's gonna be ups and downs. There's gonna be peaks and valleys, right? Even our income, which is at like the highest it's ever been, it's still month to month. It goes like this, right? And it's going like this at a higher plane, but there's always going to be ups and downs. And there's things you can't control. Like if you quit it, let's say you're like, okay, I have to have a silver's income. And so you're hitting silver. And then one of your elites quits, right? What are you going to do? So I would wait till you have a gold's income before you quit. If you want to live on, if you only need the earnings of a silver, if that makes sense. So it just depends on each person's situation. But I will say that you can build to presidential diamond part-time in doTERRA. There's no need to go full-time if you don't want to.
I think one of the things that you're really masterful at too, Matthew, is always speaking in the possibility of it's possible. Like everything is always going to stay the course, keep on task, and keep doing things, and you will see it become fruitful. And I don't hear, I think a lot of people, when you're new starting it, you need to hear that more and more, because I think it's like the fertilizer on the plant, because so many times the storm comes, the flood, you overwater the plant or something happens and it's not healthy. But when you have the fertilizer on there, I think that keeps us motivated and moving forward. And as a new leader, as you're learning to grow, I think that is Matt is masterful at always winding that into his conversation and being able to help people feel like they're on the right path, or they're not the only one going through these struggles, or they're not, that it's going to be okay if they have this bump, up and down process. And that is a masterful thing, I think, to have in your vocabulary. So thank you for always sharing that. And if you always want to, I think it's always great to be watching Matthew's videos and other presidential diamond videos and things like that, to see what's in their speaking and how they're approaching things. And it just makes you always make us feel so welcome and so appreciated. And so thank you for that too. And I think that's why Arvid said he needs more classes like that.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Just invite me.
He just told me the other day that he's going to be teaching more classes in India.
Oh yeah.
Because he's recruiting in India. So.
Well, and I think that, as you're new and getting started, the more classes you teach, the more you can polish that messaging and being able to get better at it. And I think that, Matthew said you've taught thousands of classes, and it's incredible to be able to have, when you're new, you don't have that big of an audience, so you can polish it, keep polishing it, go back, review it, watch it over, and see where you can actually change that messaging to inspire others and to speak from the heart and not the mind, and to be able to bring that forward. I think that's great. Yeah.
So true.
Thank you.
Well, I love you guys. Grateful for all you're doing. And like I said, we're just getting started. We're just getting started in India. We're just getting started in the Philippines. We're just getting started in Australia. Kitty, we're just getting started in Brazil. We're just getting started here in the United States. There's so much work to be done. So we're excited to be doing it with you guys. There's no one we'd rather be doing it with than the people who are here in this room right now. So we're grateful for your trust, for your love, for your partnership, and know that we equally return that to you. We are more loyal to you than you can imagine. We are doing crazy things behind the scenes just to help you guys and make sure that everything works out. So
Yep.
that's it.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thanks, Matt, for taking the time. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Go back to your distractions.
Yeah. We look forward to seeing you guys in a couple weeks.
Yeah. And we'll see you Thursday. Becky's teaching, right? On the class on Thursday.
Yeah, we had
Okay.
another change in the schedule, so I decided that I thought it'd be fun to do the healing the gut or working on the gut because it's a gateway
Awesome.
to your health and it seems to be the key of all things. I've been asked, a lot of people have been asking questions about this or that. And I'm like, well, it's the gut. It's the gut. I'm like, must be time for another gut class. So yeah.
Absolutely. So important.
Fill
Okay.
that Zoom.
Love you
Yeah,
guys.
you guys.
See you later.